I think the premise for Derren Brown, Russian roulette, the whole notion, genius. Because it was immediately must-see TV.
Tonight, I shall play Russian roulette, live in this barn behind me. One gun, one bullet, and every intention of being alive at the end of the show.
Cruel, yeah, but you know half the people watching it going, I've never seen someone kill themselves on TV before. I'm watching it for that reason.
Morally, you are not responsible for this. It's my decision to do it, and I'm responsible for it, okay?
Okay.
If it fucks up, it's not your fault, all right? Pick up the gun. Take the gun under the table. Pick up the bullet. When James loaded the gun, I just remember just looking and staring at him throughout the whole thing. And I think by that point, I wasn't worried. It was just this sort of sense of just trust and clarity, and whatever happens now, happens, and I can't get nervous about it. Number 3, I feel, is safe. Number 4, I feel, is safe. Number 5. I got it wrong. I thought, I fucked up. I fired it and it just clicked. And it was a mixture of, on the one hand, my mind just rapidly trying to work out what I'm doing, just going through the numbers over and over again, mixed with, okay, this is going out, what is this looking like?
There then followed over 1 minute of absolutely nothing taking place. And it was the most tense, amazing television I've seen in forever. We were just staring at Derren Brown thinking, he's got to make a life and death decision right now. And then in the end, I thought, if it wasn't that number, what number must it be? And in the end, I just made up my mind and just picked it up and did it. And I remember doing it very, very quickly. After I shot that bullet and went over, I gave him a big hug. And I've never felt so much gratitude, never felt closer to another human being in my life. And we've become friends since then, is not surprising, really. Just incredible relief.
Russian Roulette was probably the show that got the most publicity this year. There was reams and reams of coverage on television and in the press when it was happening. And then for days and days afterwards, the fallout made the headlines.
This statement was made that we had applied for blanks, which was true. We did apply to use blanks. And ironically, the fact is that even if I was shooting a blank against my head, it would still kill me. So rather than making the whole thing a sham, it actually wouldn't have made any difference at all. Not that I'm saying I did use blanks.
Derren Brown's seance was a show where the illusionist tried to convince a group of students and most of the audience watching that they were actually contacting the dead.
I would ask you at home to involve yourself in this seance, and I've also invited 12 students from around the country to participate in tonight's events.
Well, the whole thing was set in this disused building where apparently there'd been a mass suicide pact a few years before. You know, and Derren set the scene by trying to contact this girl called Jane, who was allegedly part of this pact.
A-N... Whoa! So, the name Jane was spelt. Sally, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, listen, Sally, it turns out I think you're actually in the room number that the student that we contacted, Jane, it was her room, all right? Okay, all right, okay,
that's not right.
The students were literally falling to pieces on camera. It just scared the crap out of people. They were terrified.
Can you get me now? Are you all right? Oh, God, they're really into it, aren't they? Jesus, is this right? And that poor girl in the room, that was always a little bit on the edge there. Should we be leaving the girl in the room now?
Derren, right? Just don't let anything happen to me.
And she was like terrified. Oh my God, you gotta come. Yeah, we're coming. Oh my God, you gotta come. But they never came.
We're coming to get you right now. Someone's on their way.
You think you horrible people? I bet you're outside having a fag making a sweat in there just for the show.
I remember the guy in the, Richard was his name, I think, in the Beatles coat, crossing himself. And I said to him, are you okay? And he was like, no, I'm not. No, I'm really not okay. just sort of wandered off. I was like, oh God, here we go. And we're about to go into the last bit. Holly asked Jane to show us that she's here by moving the ball, to let us know that she's here. I had no idea how well the last section would work, because there's really nothing much happening beyond their imagination in the dark.
Jane, move the ball to let us know that you are here.
Okay, all right. Okay. When it's grown men, particularly, screaming very close to you, it is strange and it is odd, and you know there was a feeling of we really am pushing this as far as I can go. Okay. So we're going to bring the camera crew back in. Can we get the crew in, please? We got 8,000 calls. Like the guy ringing up, you know, my wardrobe, it jerked, man, that is freaky.
That is the beauty of a good magician, is that you trust him and you enter his world.
People just don't get what Derren Brown is about. He is an illusionist and he's a salesman, and it's all fantasy, and people just can't seem to get that.
It was nice to know that, you know, when I was going to shoot my head off on television a year before, I got 20 complaints, and pretending to contact dead people got 700. I also find this starts to get quite fast, all right? And it can be a little odd. Okay, that's a J, all right? Let's just let it keep going.
Derren Brown's hoax seance caused mayhem when it was broadcast.
Keep going with it, don't let it freak you out. A.
Satanic. A lot of people perhaps don't believe in the devil and Satan. I do, because I believe that the power of evil is extremely strong.
N.
Ironically, the point of the programme was to prove that the occult didn't exist.
I don't think it is something that really should be controversial, but it was. It was something that people felt strongly about, but also something that I think debunked the whole paranormal process.
I don't believe in spiritualism personally. I find it quite ugly, but I am interested in the sorts of techniques used by fraudulent Victorian mediums, and I'm interested to see whether these techniques can be used to affect a modern skeptical audience.
People honestly think the gate from hell is going to open up. There are enough people in the world who think that it's like if you get out a Ouija board and they go, oh, you've got to be very careful about that. I saw a documentary once, or was it Hellraiser? I don't know, one or the other. And they've believed the horror films they've seen as kids.
Don't tell anybody the name of this person that has drawn you to him or her.
The man is a magician. That's what he does. He tricks people. It's make-believe. It's pretend. Pretend. It's not real.
Holly asked Jane to show us that she's here by moving the ball, to let us know that she's here.
Jane, move the ball to let us know that you are here.
Okay. Let's turn our attention back to the cup. Okay. All right. Okay. Keep the circle unbroken. Keep the circle unbroken.
There are two great powers. A great power for good, which is God, and a great power for evil, which is the devil, Satan. He's there. He was present there. It was obvious. Our good God doesn't do that to the minds of young people. He doesn't do that. You know, Jesus doesn't do that. That's the devil.
Jane, talk to us now. Be here. How old are you?
6.
Despite Derren clearly revealing that the spirit they had been contacting was alive and well and sitting outside in the car park, the show still received 700 complaints, none of them upheld.
It's not like he's massively kind of attractive or charismatic or anything. When you know, just see him talking normally, he's like just a really, really ordinary bloke, and then he just has this incredible... It just is terrifying. You think, God, you know, what could he make you do?
Every day when you leave your home, you give away more than you could ever imagine about who you are and what you do. Right, I think I can tell you what you do for a living. Look at me. It's people, it's PR, it's marketing, it's that sort of thing. Yeah. Is that what you do? Yeah. You look for people's skills, you put them in positions. It's some sort of headhunting, is that right? Recruitment, that sort of thing? What do you do?
Recruitment consultant.
I get called a psychological illusionist, which is fair enough. I mean, I'm not psychic. You can't actually read people's minds. That would be impossible. Look at me. First thing is you walk towards me, your posture is strong and solid. There's obviously a physical and control thing that you're involved in. But if you play a certain sort of mind game with people and you get them to involve themselves in a situation that I have to control to make it happen, then you could absolutely create the effect of reading people's minds, and people can think of things and you can tell them what they're thinking of. There's a kind of a thing, you're kind of checking me out slightly, almost not suspicious, but you're checking me out, so I'm guessing you're in some kind of security job, is that right? Regulation haircut, so you're not a bouncer. So this is maybe something to do with police or something like that. What do you do? What do you do, mate? What do you do?
Work in the police station.
You work in a police station? The dog track was great fun. That was good. I'm not going to give everything away, but I'll use whatever I can in the situation, and certainly the fact that, you know, there's a camera crew and a great big boom mic sort of pointing at them helps. I mean, that's not going to be enough to make you pay out when your job tells you that you mustn't pay out unless it's a winning ticket.
Losing ticket.
The losing ticket.
This
again.
is a losing.
So this is a worthless ticket. You look her right in the eye.
Yeah.
You hand her the ticket, and you say, "This is the winning ticket," and you just believe that from the bottom of your soul.
This is the winning ticket.
Not winner? This is the dog you're looking for. Try again, you may have misread it.
Oh yeah, sorry, you have one, sorry.
Fantastic.
Good grief.
Yeah.
Can you come for the next meeting?
Yeah.
£109.
The guy at the end of it was convinced that surely he'd have to give the money back, and we're like, no, keep it. Keep it, it's yours, and he was delighted.
Thank you very much.
Yours to keep. Thank you.
Is it legal?
No, I have no idea. Okay, I'm going to try and communicate a playing card to you, so I'm going to make the colour really bright and vivid. Just get a screen in your mind like that. Just start to think about what it is. Get a screen and the little number in the corners and the things down the middle, the bit down the centre of the card, whatever it is. Just visualise it clearly on that screen. Visualise it. Can you see it? Can you see the card? Have you got a card? Was it the three of diamonds? If it wasn't the three of diamonds, you're wrong, and that in no way reflects on my skill.
In magic, there is a thing that we generally refer to as a false solution, which of course is not the real solution. It's a kind of way of misdirecting the audience away from the real solution. Now in mentalism, there's always this additional false solution, which is that it's real.
And when you're in position, the first person, please, put your hand above one of mine and say ready when you're done.
Ready.
Okay. Now, I wiggled my right hand on purpose. That should have put you off going there and made you go over to the left-hand side, so I would say left for the first one, correct?
Correct. What do you mean by real? Well, of course, it might mean paranormal.
Next, please.
But it doesn't always mean that. Other frames available are psychological ones.
Now, you've just seen the left, so I would say you would go for right.
So people might claim that they're very good at reading body language, that they're using suggestion in ways you didn't think were possible.
Ready. Okay, you now want to break the alternating pattern that I just mentioned, so you would go for right again, correct?
Yes.
I think what's great is that Derren applies some really genuine techniques. He has genuine skills in body reading and psychology.
He taps into a very basic desire. We all know we pick up signals from one another and communicate, you know, via body language and so on. But here is a man who can really do it, who can walk up to a complete stranger, tell them all about themselves, or go up to somebody and really control somebody else's behaviour. And of course we would all love to be able to do that, and it taps into that desire.
But he'll also apply some very clever trickery as well. And where that line is, what's a trick, what's real, is very, very neatly blurred.
A lot of the explanations that they're giving for explanations, for me, is just to sort of let people in a little bit. Sometimes those explanations aren't real. Sometimes it is just to enhance the effect and to lead people down a garden path, which for me is part of the fun of all of it.